My name is Sarah Mitchell, and I'm 32 years old. Last Christmas Eve, my mother looked at my 6-year-old daughter and said, "No dessert for you, sweetie. Only real family gets pie." 48 hours later, I canceled the $320 monthly payment I'd been sending for 8 years. $47,000 total. One insult, one invoice. The dining room smelled like cinnamon and betrayal. Candlelight flickered on her best china plates, the ones she only brought out when she wanted everything to look perfect. My hands stayed steady as I helped Maya button her winter coat, even though something inside me was trembling so hard I thought I might shatter. Maya looked up at me with those big brown eyes and whispered, "Why doesn't Grandma like me?" The worst part wasn't what she said. It was what my daughter learned about love in that moment. I thought silence was keeping the peace. I didn't know it was teaching my daughter to accept less. I didn't know it was permission. What kind of mother keeps showing up for this? I'm an ICU nurse at Portland General. Night shift, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. The kind of work where you hold people's hands while machines breathe for them. Where you learn that some things can't be fixed, only survived. I've been doing this for 9 years, single mom for the last 3, ever since Mark took a job in Seattle. The divorce was amicable. We still co-parent Maya. He's a good dad. We just weren't good together. Maya's 6 now, first grade at Lincoln Elementary. We live in a modest 2-bedroom in Southeast Portland. $1,400 a month. Her drawings cover our fridge like wallpaper. Stick figures holding hands. Cats with too many legs. A house with a purple door because that's her favorite color. Every morning before my shift, around 10 p.m., I make coffee. The smell fills our small kitchen. Maya's already asleep. Mr. Whiskers, our cat, wins between my legs. I check my bank account and send the payment. $320. Like clockwork. For 8 years, I sent that money. $180 for their car payment on the 2019 Honda. $95 for the family phone plan. $45 toward their home insurance. $47,000 total. Why? Because that's what good daughters do. Because my mother's voice lives in my head, clear as a bell. Gratitude isn't optional, Sarah. My mother, Patricia, is 61, retired elementary school principal. She ruled her school the way she ruled us, by guilt, by hierarchy, by making you feel like love was something you earned through perfect behavior. My father, Robert, is 64, retired postal worker. A quiet man who learned that peace comes from silence, from not making waves, from letting Patricia steer the ship, even when it's heading toward rocks. My sister Jessica is 29, high school English teacher, married to Tom, 2 kids. She was the golden child. I was the one who needed correction. When I was 11, I wrote a thank you note to my grandmother for a birthday gift. My mother made me rewrite it 4 times. Your gratitude sounds forced, Sarah. Say it like you mean it. My hand cramped around and the pencil. Tears smudged the ink on the 3rd attempt. Their house was always cold. Thermostat set at 64 degrees year-round. Waste of money to be comfortable, my mother would say, wrapped in a cardigan while we shivered through dinner. The pie was never about dessert. It was about who deserved sweetness, and apparently my daughter didn't make the cut. That night, 9:30 p.m., I tucked Maya into bed. Her room smelled like lavender lotion. Glow-in-the-dark stars dotted the ceiling, little constellations we'd stuck up together last summer. I noticed a new drawing on her nightstand, 3 crayon stick figures holding hands. Labels underneath in her careful first-grade handwriting. Mommy, me, and Mr. Whiskers. No grandparents, no cousins, no aunt and uncle. My daughter had edited her world down to people who feel safe. I sat on the edge of her bed, picked up the drawing with both hands. My fingers traced the 3 figures, the purple house in the background, the oversized sun. Maya's voice came soft, already half asleep. Grandma's face is too hard to draw. It never smiles. That's when I realized my silence hadn't protected her. It had taught her to accept cruelty as normal. I kissed her forehead and turned off the light, walked back to my room, sat on my bed in the dark. 9:10 p.m. My phone buzzed. Dad, don't forget the payment. Tomorrow. Bank closes early for holiday. Not Merry Christmas. Not thanks for coming tonight. Not sorry about what happened. Just the bill. I stared at that text. The phone screen glowing in my dark bedroom. I could hear my heartbeat in my ears. Maya's soft breathing drifted from her room down the hall. The clock on my nightstand ticked. 9:47 p.m. I opened the family group chat. Me, my parents, Jessica, my thumbs hovered over the keyboard. Then I typed, "You'll handle your own bills starting January 1st. I hit send before I could talk myself out of it. Blue check marks appeared. Read, 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 then silence. 10:15 p.m. Nothing. 11 p.m. Still nothing. I lay there in the dark, phone on my chest. 4 hours passed. Silence felt louder than any insult she'd ever thrown. 1:23 a.m. I finally fell asleep. I thought I'd feel guilty. Instead, I felt lighter than I had in 8 years. But I had no idea what I'd just started. Have you ever realized your silence became permission? I spent 8 years paying for the privilege of being disrespected. $320 a month to hear how I wasn't enough, how my job wasn't impressive enough, how my parenting wasn't strict enough, how my divorce proved I couldn't commit. Every payment came with a lecture, every visit came with corrections, and I kept showing up, kept paying, kept trying to earn something that should have been free. If you've ever had to teach your family how to treat you, comment one word below: enough. Because this story, it gets worse before it gets better. And if you're someone who's still paying the emotional toll for people who've never paid you back in kindness, you need to hear how this ends. Hit subscribe. Not for me, for the version of you that deserves to stop apologizing for existing. Because what happened next taught me something I should have learned decades ago. Some people won't change until the cost of staying the same becomes too high. December 26th, 11:15 a.m. My phone buzzed. Venmo request from Patricia Mitchell, $50. The note read, "Christmas dinner ingredients. You ate, didn't you? Maybe this will jog your memory about obligations." I stared at my phone. My hand hovered over the pay button. A memory flashed. Every family dinner for the past decade. My mother, with her little notebook, tallying costs. Your plate was $14.75, Sarah. Jessica's was $12.30. Don't forget. Like we were customers. Like love came with receipts. I pressed decline. First time ever. My hands were shaking, but I did it. 11:47 a.m. Voicemail notification. I hit play. Put it on speaker. My father's voice, tight with controlled anger. "We had an agreement, Sarah. You don't walk away because of emotional nonsense. Your mother is hurt. She's crying. You did this. Call back and apologize, or there will be consequences." In the background, I could hear her. My mother's voice, sharp as broken glass. "Tell her we're done, done." I stood in my kitchen. Afternoon light streamed through the window. Mr. Whiskers rubbed against my legs, purring. The phone felt warm against my palm. My coffee had gone cold on the counter. From the living room, I could hear Maya watching Daniel Tiger, her innocent laughter floating down the hall. I pressed delete with my thumb. The voicemail disappeared. I whispered to the empty kitchen, "This isn't about pie. It's about hierarchy." And that's when I knew I wasn't paying their bills anymore. I was done paying the bill for my own disrespect. I took a breath. Slow in, slow out. I thought cutting them off would be the end. I had no idea it was just the beginning. I thought maybe it was over. One day of silence felt like progress. Then my phone buzzed. Facebook notification. My mother had posted, "Some daughters forget what loyalty means," especially around the holidays, praying for her to find her way back to gratitude. Public, for everyone to see. 47 likes already, comments rolling in like a Greek. Chorus. So sorry, Patricia. You raised her better than this. Praying for you both. She'd turned my boundary into a prayer request. Jessica texted me a screenshot. She's losing it. Can I come over? Before I could answer, another notification popped up. Your order has shipped. I stared at my phone. I hadn't ordered anything. Something cold settled in my stomach. I opened Amazon, logged in. 3 orders, placed yesterday, the day after I declined her Venmo request. Bath towel set, $89.99. Aromatherapy diffuser, $45.50. Fleece slippers, $32.99. All shipping to my parents' house, all charged to my saved card. My hand started scrolling. Order history, back through the years. Dozens of orders I didn't recognize. Kitchen gadgets I'd never heard of. Throw pillows, scented candles, garden supplies. Page after page of things that weren't mine. 4 years of this. Since 2019. Approximately $2,300 total. She'd had access to my account since I'd added her for emergencies. In case I needed to send something quickly, she'd said. In case she needed to order something for me. I sat on my bed, laptop balanced on my knees. Mr. Whiskers was curled beside me, purring like nothing was wrong. From the living room, Maya's voice drifted down the hall, playing with her dolls, acting out little scenes. Blue light from the screen washed over my face. My jaw clenched so tight my teeth ached. My hands moved deliberately. Changed password. Removed card. Clicked lock account. Your card ending in 4,782 has been removed. She'd been spending my money while critiquing how I spent my money. I knew she wouldn't stay quiet. What I didn't know was how far she'd go. The next evening, someone knocked at my door. I opened it to find Jessica and Tom standing there with bags of Thai takeout. The smell of pad Thai hit me first. Garlic and lime and something warm. Jessica pushed past me into the apartment. We're not leaving until you eat something real. Tom followed, carrying spring rolls and a container of mango sticky rice. He gave me an apologetic smile. She's been planning this intervention since this morning. We sat at my small kitchen table. The overhead light cast everything in warm tones. Jessica opened containers, the steam rising between us. She slid a plate toward me. I picked at my noodles. Jessica wasn't eating either. She reached across the table and covered my hand with hers. Her voice cracked when she spoke. I need to tell you something I should have said years ago. I knew this was coming. The air felt too heavy to hold anything but truth. I thought if I made them happy enough, they'd go easier on you. Jessica's eyes were already filling. For 10 years, I played perfect daughter, perfect grades, perfect wedding, perfect kids, perfect house. I thought if I gave them everything they wanted, they'd stop demanding so much from you. I thought I was creating space for you to breathe. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. They didn't go easier on you. They just learned how much they could take. Tom leaned forward. His hand rested on Jessica's shoulder. Last Thanksgiving, your mother told Jessica, at least one daughter knows her place. She uses you as a threat, Jess. Every time Jessica doesn't answer fast enough or can't make dinner or says no to something, don't end up like Sarah. Jessica was crying now. Real tears, not the polite kind you dab away. Come to our house next Sunday. She said, dinner. I'm inviting them too. I shook my head. Why would I want to sit through that again? Because this time I'm not staying silent. Tom cleared his throat. But there's something else you should. Oh no. I looked up. Your dad tried to Venmo you $100 yesterday. I saw it. Patricia was standing right there when he pulled out his phone. She grabbed it out of his hand and deleted the transfer before it went through. The noodles had gone cold on our plates. Jessica's mascara was smudged under her eyes. Through the doorway, I could see Maya asleep on the couch, curled up with Mr. Whiskers. I didn't know if I had the strength for another confrontation. but I knew my daughter was watching how I drew my lines. I texted Dr. Chen that night. I'd been seeing her for 6 months, working through the divorce, the single parenting, the guilt that seemed to live in my bones. She sent back her session notes from our last appointment. I read them sitting on my bathroom floor, back against the tub. You don't need their apology to heal. You need your own permission to stop waiting for one. I read it 3 times. Across town, Jessica was setting the table for 7, her family of 4, plus my parents, plus me. Tom helped their kids make place cards with colored markers. Jessica's hands shook as she arranged the silverware. Her daughter looked up at her. "Why is Grandma coming? She's scary." Jessica knelt down to her level. I wasn't there, but she told me about it later. She didn't have an answer. In my apartment, Maya was coloring at the kitchen table. She looked up at me. "Mommy, what's love supposed to feel like?" I sat down next to her. "You never have to earn love, baby. It's supposed to be free." She thought about this. "Like library books?" "No, baby. Library books you have to return. Love you get to keep." She went back to coloring, green crayon on white paper. "A garden," she said, "with flowers that never die." New Year's Eve, late, almost midnight, I pulled out every payment confirmation I'd saved. 8 years of receipts, bank statements, Venmo screenshots, all proof that I'd been a good daughter, that I'd paid my dues. I held them over the kitchen sink, lit a match, let the paper catch. The flames reflected in the window above the sink. The smell of burning paper filled the small space. Smoke detector beeped once in warning. I turned on the water, let it run cold, extinguished the fire before it became more than symbolic. I held the last receipt over the flame, my fingers close to the heat. Then, let go. "Forgiveness isn't weakness," I whispered to my reflection in the dark window. "It's proof you survived." I wasn't burning bridges. I was cremating the version of me who believed love had a price tag. Outside, fireworks started. Distant booms, flashes of color through the window. Maya's sleeping breath drifted from her bedroom. The city celebrating while I stood alone with charred paper and cold water. New Year's Day, morning. I texted Jessica, "I'll be there Sunday. For you, not them." She texted back immediately. "That's enough." I thought I knew what anger felt like. What I felt walking into that dinner was something colder. Clarity. Sunday evening. Jessica's house smelled like roasted rosemary chicken, warm lighting, kids' artwork covering the fridge, toys tucked in a corner basket. The table was set for 7. Candles already lit? I arrived first, helped Jessica carry dishes. Maya played with Jessica's kids in the living room, their laughter a strange soundtrack to what was coming. Then the doorbell rang. Cold air rushed in when Jessica opened the door. My mother stood there in a cream cashmere coat, my father beside her in a plaid shirt, hands in his pockets. Patricia handed Jessica a store-bought apple pie. Didn't look at me. I wasn't sure if I should bring anything, given the circumstances. She'd turned generosity into a weapon. Even pie was a statement. We sat down. Small talk filled the spaces between silverware clinking, weather, traffic, how Jessica's kids were doing in school. My mother avoided looking at me. My father stared at his water glass like it held answers. Wine poured, salad served. Jessica's daughter piped up from the kids' table. "Aunt Sarah, can you sit by me?" I moved my chair, sat between the adult table and the kids, somewhere in the middle. We made it through salad. Then, the main course, chicken and roasted vegetables, everyone chewing, everyone pretending. Jessica set down her fork. The sound of metal on plate rang out sharper than it should have. "Let's talk about Christmas Eve." Complete silence. All chewing stopped. My mother dabbed her mouth with her napkin. "I don't know what you mean." Jessica's voice was steady. "You told Maya she wasn't real family." "That's not what I said." "Sarah is twisting it." Tom leaned forward. "We all heard you, Patricia." My father finally spoke. "We did our best. Kids today are too sensitive. Tom's jaw tightened. Your best required $47,000 in payment plans? I found my voice, steady, clear. You punished me for not being ashamed enough. Ashamed of my divorce, my job, my parenting. You turned my daughter into a lesson about hierarchy. You're being dramatic. I was 11 years old when you made me rewrite a thank you note 4 times. My hands were flat on the table. You said my gratitude didn't sound genuine. I've spent 21 years trying to sound genuine enough for you. That's when my mother's phone rang. Everyone heard it. The ringtone coming from her purse by the door. She glanced at her watch. Call screen lit up. Caroline. She declined the call. Then my phone buzzed in my pocket. Voicemail notification. From 2 hours ago. Same number. My stomach dropped. She'd pocket dialed me. During her pre-dinner prep at home, I pulled out my phone, hit play, put it on speaker. My mother's voice filled the dining room. She thinks she's so noble, cutting us off. Playing victim. I'll show her what happens when you disrespect your mother. Tonight, I'll make sure Jessica sees who Sarah really is. A woman's voice in the background. Caroline, her neighbor. Patricia, are you sure that's my mother's voice? Sharp and clear. I raised her. I can unraise her. Jessica's face went white. Tom stood up. My father stared at my mother. Patricia, what did you... My mother lunged across the table for my phone. I pulled it back. Then Maya's voice cut through everything. I don't think you like me. Everyone froze. Maya stood at the edge of the kids' table. 6 years old. Looking at my mother with those big brown eyes. And I don't think you like Mommy either. The room held its breath. Tom stood. His voice was calm but final. You can be family or you can be guests. Right now, you're guests. And it's time to go. My mother grabbed her coat. Knocked over her wine glass in the process. Red wine spread across the white tablecloth like blood. She didn't apologize, didn't look back. My father followed her, stopped at the door. Looked back at me. His mouth opened. Nothing came out. They left. The door clicked shut. My mother's pie sat forgotten on the counter. Silence. Jessica was crying. Tom pulled his kids close, hugged them tight. I sat very still, hands flat on the table. Maya climbed into my lap. Did I do something wrong? I wrapped my arms around her. No, baby. You did something brave. The candles still flickered. The smell of rosemary mixed with tension and spilled wine. Outside, we heard my mother's car start. Tires on gravel. Then nothing. I thought that was the end. I didn't know my father had been writing letters he never sent. Later that night, after Tom had put the kids to bed and Maya had fallen asleep on Jessica's couch, Jessica found something under the coat rack by the door. My mother's phone. She brought it to me. We were sitting in her living room. Lamplight. Empty wine glasses on the coffee table. The house finally quiet. You should see this before I return it. The screen lit up when Jessica touched it. No passcode. My mother had never believed in those. Text drafts. Unsent. One dated December 24th. Christmas Eve. Before dinner. To my father, tonight I push her. If she breaks, good. She needs to learn. My hands went cold. Jessica scrolled. Voice memo. December 22nd, 2 days before Christmas. She hit play. My mother's voice. Talking to herself. Practicing maybe. Or confessing to an empty room. Maybe I went too far with Sarah over the years. But how do I admit that without losing face? Easier to make her the problem. Have you ever heard someone's private thoughts and wished you hadn't? Wished. You could go back to not knowing? Jessica kept scrolling. Calculator app still open. $47,000. The exact total I'd sent over 8 years. She'd been keeping track, tallying. The whole time. I set the phone down carefully. Both hands. Like it might shatter if I moved too fast. She knew, I whispered. The whole time, she knew. Sometimes remorse sounds like static, like a channel you can't quite tune in. She'd been sorry in private while being cruel in public. Sorry enough to record it. Not sorry enough to stop. Jessica touched my arm. Do you want to keep this as proof? Proof of what? I looked at her. I don't need evidence to know what I lived through. We turned the phone off. Put it in an envelope. Tomorrow, Jessica would drop it off. No conversation. No confrontation. Just, you left this. The phone screen dimmed to black. I exhaled. Long and slow. The clock on Jessica's mantel ticked toward midnight. Her hand rested on my shoulder. I thought maybe that was closure. A voice, memo and unsent texts. Proof she'd known all along. Silence lasted 3 days. On day 4, they showed up at my door. 3 days. Not a text, not a call, not even an angry email. I'd been trained to fear their silence. It was their favorite punishment. The cold shoulder, the withheld approval, the days that stretched into weeks where you wondered what you'd done wrong this time. But this time, silence felt like space. Life returned to normal. I worked my night shifts at the hospital, came home in the morning, slept while Maya was at school. Picked her up at 3, made dinner, helped with homework. She brought home a math worksheet with a 100% sticker. We put it on the fridge next to her drawing of the 3 of us. I looked at my bank account. $320 still sitting there. First month I hadn't sent a payment in 8 years. I opened a new savings account. Named it Maya's Future Fund. Transferred the $320. It felt like planting seeds. One night, I scrolled through old texts from my mother, found one from 2 years ago. Payment tomorrow, don't make me remind you again. I laughed. Actual laugh. The sound surprised me. When was the last time I'd laughed at something she'd said instead of flinching? Then, 3 days after the dinner at Jessica's, my doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole. Porch light, casting long shadows. My parents, standing on my doorstep. I opened the door, chain still on. Peered through the gap. Robert and Patricia. My father held a wrapped box in his hands. Newspaper comics for wrapping paper. Tape messy, like he'd done it himself. They looked smaller. Like I'd been seeing them through a funhouse mirror my whole life, and someone had finally adjusted the lens. My father wore an old jacket, not his dress coat. My mother had no makeup. Hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. No designer purse, no cashmere, no armor. What are you doing here? My father spoke first. We need to talk. Can we come in? I paused. Long enough that the question hung in the cold air between us. No, but we can talk here. Cold air seeped through the gap in the door. Behind me, I could sense Maya watching from the couch, partially hidden behind a pillow. Mr. Whiskers wove between my legs, purring like nothing was wrong. Distant traffic hummed from the street. My father looked at my mother, then back at me. I'd imagined this moment 100 times, rehearsed what I'd say, how I'd stand, what I'd demand. In none of those versions did my father get on his knees. The cold January evening made our breath visible, porch light buzzing overhead, that electric hum that sounds like waiting. My father lowered himself to his knees, box still in his hands, joints creaking. 64 years of standing to the side, and now this. I don't deserve to be here, but I need to say this. I'd never seen my father kneel. Not in prayer, not in gardening, never in submission. I let her treat you that way because it was easier than standing up. Every payment you sent, I knew it was wrong. I knew we didn't need it. His voice cracked. She wanted control, and I let her have it. I failed you as a father. I've been failing you since you were 11 years old with that thank you note. My mother didn't kneel. Not at first, but she cried. Real tears, not the performative kind. These were different. Messy. I thought I was teaching you something. Strength, resilience, gratitude. Her hands twisted together, wedding ring catching light. I thought if I was hard enough, like on you, the world couldn't be harder. I see what I've done now. I see it reflected in how you look at me. Like I'm someone to survive, not someone to love. Have you ever stood at a door, holding all the power for once, and not known what to do with it? If this is about feeling better about yourselves, you can go. No, my mother started. If this is because you need me to make this okay for you, I can't do that. My father shook his head, still on his knees. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking for a chance to prove I believe you now. I believe the pain we caused. Maya's voice came from behind me. Mommy, what's this? She held a piece of paper, folded, worn at the creases, from her backpack. I took it with shaking hands. My father's handwriting. Maya, your mama is braver than I ever was. She stopped a pattern I should have stopped 30 years ago. Don't let anyone, not even me, tell you that kindness means accepting cruelty. Your mama teaches you better than I taught her. I'm sorry I'm learning this so late. Love, Grandpa Robert. Dated December 27th, 2 days after Christmas. You've been carrying this? I slipped it in her backpack at Christmas, before everything. I knew Patricia was planning something. I should have stopped her then. He held out the box. I unwrapped the newspaper comics, music box inside, white, hand-painted with tiny flowers. The ballerina twirled to Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Tag attached. For Maya. Love doesn't cost $320. Love is free. I'm sorry, I forgot. Grandma Patricia, Maya reached for it, eyes wide. It's pretty. Thank you. My mother knelt now too, both on their knees on my doorstep. You deserve pretty things. And you deserve a grandmother who makes you feel safe. Something shifted in my chest. Not forgiveness. Not yet. But maybe space for it someday. Thank you for this, for being here. But words are easy. I need to see change. Prove it with actions, over time. How long? My father asked. I don't know. As long as it takes. My mother nodded. That's fair. My father's voice was small. Can I hug you? Long pause. The music box played between us. Not yet. He nodded, tears streaming down his face. They stood slowly, walked to their car. The music box melody floated through the doorway, cold air mixed with warm apartment air. Maya held the box carefully. I watched their brake lights disappear down the street. The door was still chained, but something had shifted. The weeks that followed were quiet, different kind of quiet. My phone buzzed one afternoon. Venmo notification, $200 from Patricia Mitchell. Note, my turn, not payment, not obligation. I'm sorry. I stared at it for a long time, then transferred it to Maya's future fund. Didn't spend it. Didn't send it back. Just let it sit there, becoming something different than what it used to be. 5 days later, an envelope arrived. Thick, handwritten address. My mother's careful cursive. I opened it at my kitchen table. Coffee steaming beside me. 3 pages, front and back. I thought hardness was strength. I thought if I controlled you, I was protecting you from a world that would try to control you worse. I see now, I became the thing I feared. I became someone you needed protection from. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't forgive myself. Your daughter has what I stole from you, a mother who chooses gentleness. I read it twice, then folded it back up. Jessica came over a few days later, brought coffee. We sat at my kitchen table, the same spot I'd read the letter. You saved us, she said. You were the first person in our family to stop pretending everything was fine. I shook my head. I didn't save anyone. I just stopped bleeding for people who kept cutting me. That's the same thing. The following week, my doorbell rang. My mother stood there with a wrapped children's book. We talked on the step. 5 minutes. Civil. About Maya, mostly. About the weather. As she turned to leave, an envelope fell from her purse. I picked it up. You dropped this. She looked at it. Didn't reach for it. I know. It was a receipt. Doctor. Linda Hernandez, family therapist. Dated December 22nd, 3 days before Christmas Eve. Session notes visible through the thin paper. discuss control patterns with daughters, explore fear of irrelevance. She'd known, she'd gone to therapy, been told about her behavior, and did the Christmas Eve incident anyway. But there was a second receipt stapled behind it. January 3rd. She'd gone back. "Why'd you go back?" I asked. "After Christmas?" Her voice was quiet. "Because knowing you have a problem and changing it are different things. I'm trying to do the second part." She left. I stood there holding therapy receipts like they were love letters. A few days later, Maya came out of school holding a small wrapped box. Her teacher had approved the delivery. Inside was a bracelet, child-sized, engraved, loved, no conditions, note card in my mother's handwriting. "Dear Maya, love shouldn't have rules. I'm learning this. Love, Grandma Patricia." Maya held it up to the afternoon light streaming through the car window. "Can I wear it?" "Yes, baby." She struggled with the clasp. I helped her. The bracelet hung loose on her tiny wrist. "Does this mean Grandma is nice now?" I looked at her in the rearview mirror. My eyes welled up. I blinked fast. "It means she's trying." The radio played softly. Something about second chances. Change doesn't look like lightning. It looks like therapy receipts and engraved bracelets. It looks like old people learning new ways to love. People ask me if I forgive them. That's the wrong question. Forgiveness isn't saying it's okay. It's saying I'm done carrying it. Valentine's Day, Jessica invited us all for dinner. Sarah and Maya, Patricia and Robert, all of us in the same room again. This time felt different. No tension humming under the surface, no tallying, no silent scorekeeping. My mother brought flowers, not pie. My father sat on the floor playing Uno with Maya and Jessica's kids. He let them cheat, laughed when they caught him sneaking cards. Later that night, my phone buzzed. Text from my mother, photo attached, my father teaching Maya how to do a puzzle, his weathered hand guiding her small one, Maya laughing at something he'd said. The image blurry at the edges, like whoever took it had been smiling too hard to hold still. Text below. "Thank you for giving us another chance." I didn't respond right away. Just looked at the photo for a long time. Back home, after baths and teeth brushing, Maya climbed into my lap. The music box sat on her nightstand, still playing every night before bed. The smell of lavender shampoo in her damp hair. Do you think they mean it, Grandma and Grandpa? How do you explain adult change to a 6-year-old? How do you teach hope without teaching naivety? I think they're learning. People can change, but it takes time. And we get to decide if we want to watch them change or walk away. Right now, I'm choosing to watch. She thought about this. What if they mess up again? Then we decide again. We always get to decide. She seemed satisfied with that. Climbed into bed. I wound the music box. The ballerina spun to Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Light from the nightstand reflected off her bedroom mirror, our faces visible together in the glass. Mother and daughter, breaking patterns. I checked my bank account before turning off the light. Maya's future fund, $640 now. 2 months of not sending payments. Goal was $5,000 for summer camp. I added $50 every paycheck. It wasn't much, but it was mine to give freely. My mother once told me gratitude isn't optional. She was right, but neither is respect. Neither is gentleness. Neither is love that doesn't leave bruises. I looked at Maya sleeping. Really looked. No flinching when someone raised their voice. No overthinking thank you notes. No walking on eggshells in her own life. Some lessons take generations to unlearn. My mother learned hardness from her mother. I learned silence from mine. Maya will learn something different. She'll learn that love doesn't have a price tag, and that no is a complete sentence. The music box wound down. Notes slower now. Maya's chest rising and falling. Peaceful. Mr. Whiskers purring at the foot of her bed. Street light through the window cast shadows of tree branches across her ceiling, moving slightly in the wind. I placed my hand on her head. Gentle. This was enough. Here's what I want you to know. The real revenge isn't cutting them off. It's showing them what love actually looks like and letting them decide if they want to rise to it. My parents are trying now. It's messy. Some days are better than others. But they're trying because I stopped accepting less. If you're in that place where you're paying bills and emotional debts for people who've never paid you back in kindness, listen, your silence isn't keeping the peace. It's teaching everyone around you that your boundaries are negotiable. They're not. You don't owe anyone access to you just because you share DNA. And teaching your family what love means? That's not cruel. That's the most loving thing you can do. Because some people won't change until the cost of staying the same becomes too high. If this story resonates with you, comment one word: enough. And remember, you're not responsible for healing people who broke you. But you are responsible for teaching your children what they should never accept. Be the cycle breaker. Morning light streams through my kitchen window. Coffee brewing. Maya's backpack by the door, ready for school. I clip the bracelet on her wrist. Loved, no conditions. Press a kiss to her forehead. I love you, Mama. I love you more. When I look at Maya, I don't see my past. I see my second chance. And that's worth every uncomfortable conversation, every boundary, every moment I chose myself. The music box plays one final time. The ballerina spins, somewhere over the rainbow. Then silence. Not the punishing kind, the peaceful kind.